hiring of former RNC chair Ronna McDaniel.
Well, she was on Sunday's Meet the Press. It was her first appearance since NBC News hired her as a political analyst. I know you won't be surprised to know that we've been inundated with calls this weekend, as have most people connected with this network, about NBC's decision to hire her. We learned about the hiring when we read about it in the press on Friday. We weren't asked our opinion of the hiring, but if we were, we would have strongly objected to it for several reasons, including, but not limited to, as lawyers might say, Ms. McDaniel's role in Donald Trump's fake elector scheme and her pressuring election officials to not certify election results while Donald Trump was on the phone.
To be clear, we believe NBC News should seek out conservative Republican voices to provide balance in their election coverage. But it should be conservative Republicans, not a person who used her position of power to be an anti-democracy election denier. And we hope NBC will reconsider its decision. It goes without saying that she will not be a guest on Morning Joe in her capacity as a paid contributor. Here's why.
But to the question, though, do you disagree with Trump saying he's going to free those who've been charged?
I do not think people who committed violent acts on January 6th should be freed.
So you disagree with that? He's been saying that for months. Ronna, why not speak out earlier? Why just speak out about that now?
When you're the RNC chair, you kind of take one for the whole team, right? Now I get to be a little bit more myself, right?
All right, guys, so we got to talk about MSDNC, which is currently a network in turmoil because they are currently upset about their network hiring Ronna McDaniel, the former head of the RNC, to work at the network as a paid contributor. Now, listen, I am not a fan of Ronna McDaniel, but the liberal media and their outrage, right? Their fake outrage, because it really is hypocritical how they're outraging against Ronna McDaniel, especially MSNBC. They're going to make me come close to defending Ronna McDaniel, even though I think that all the backlash she's getting is actually hilarious because she went and ran to the mainstream liberal media amid criticisms that she is establishment, okay, that she is in bed with the establishment. That was a lot of her criticisms when she was the head of the RNC, the fact that she was a failure. She was not effective at helping the Republican Party win elections. Also, on top of that, a lot of the debates that were held by the RNC, the GOP debates, they were held on mainstream liberal media outlets like CNN, okay? And a lot of people were like, well, why are we holding all these debates with these left-wing commentators and journalists rather than having these debates on more conservative outlets, okay? I mean, this is the GOP primary, okay? The fact that Newsmax didn't get a debate, I think, is inexplicable, okay? I also believe that the RNC was responsible for Chris Christie and Vivek Ramaswamy not being able to do a one-on-one debate, but Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis were able to do a one-on-one debate. So again, most of my criticisms of Ronna McDaniel has to do with the fact that I just don't think she did a good job of running the RNC and helping us win elections and putting the GOP debates in the spotlight that it really needed to be in, okay? But a lot of people really do think that she's a tool of the establishment, considering how she is a Romney, okay? She is the niece of Mitt Romney. So a lot of people had questions. Again, even though she did challenge the 2020 election using her role at the RNC, she also censured Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. But running to NBC News after getting fired from the RNC definitely was not a move to make people think that, hey, you know, you're on our team, right? You're really working on our behalf. And I think it's hilarious because she might actually get fired from NBC News because essentially the whole staff at that network is revolting against her publicly on air, right? These people have the unmitigated gall to demand that their employer fire somebody they don't like, which tells you everything you need to know about people that are hired by these networks in the first place, that they don't allow people on the network who are too pro-Trump, right? And Rachel Maddow here, their star, is going to go on air and really try hard to break down in tears over her network hiring Ronna McDaniel, who's already been banned from MSNBC.
You know, in the press, we do not take it personally when we get attacked. When they, you know, say they want to put us on trial and execute us for treason, we don't take it personally.
Well, I can't tell because you guys melt down over everything Trump says as if it's personal, right? But again, a lot of this rant, as you know here, is going to come from her Trump derangement, okay? This is where it's going to come from. They don't like Ronna, not because she's not a tool of the establishment. It's because she's too close to Trump. Well, you have not sufficiently denounced Trump, okay? Because, listen, here's the thing. Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, all of them, at least before January 6th, they were all Team Trump, and they all voted along with Trump during his presidency, okay? It was just after January 6th they decided to jump ship. But they have no problems with those Republicans being on the network, right? So, again, when it comes to Ronna McDaniel, it's really about the fact that she's not sufficiently team establishment, right? She's not denouncing Trump enough for them, okay? They don't want somebody that could potentially represent Trump supporters on the network, even though I don't think that she does, but they don't even want anybody even close to representing that side of the political aisle, which tells you what news is really all about, right? The news is not about really, you know, platforming everybody's views and allowing people to kind of hear all perspectives. No. It's about allowing you to hear one perspective and one perspective only.
But we do defend ourselves as an institution, not because we're personally offended by the way that we're treated, but because a free and uncowed press is necessary for our democracy. A
free press. Yeah, this is why MSNBC has Simone Sanders, who worked for the Biden administration. They also have Jen Psaki, who worked for the Biden administration as well. They have Joe Scarborough, who admitted on air that him and Joe Biden have conversations all the time. MSNBC is not the free press, right? They're not the free press at all, okay? They have so many paid Biden administration propagandists on their network. I mean, they might as well rename their show to the Biden News Network, right? Because that's what they have become. They really are MSDNC. And that's the thing that kind of blows my mind about all this pushback against Ronna McDaniel. Because if the pushback is that, well, you know, she's too closely tied to Trump and the Republican Party, that's not a real argument, right? That is the argument that some of these people are trying to make. It's like, well, again, you have operatives from the Biden administration working at your network. I mean, your whole network is full of Biden administration operatives. I mean, that's the pipeline. There's no doubt in my mind that Krenz Jean-Pierre is in line for a show as soon as she steps down from her position, okay? So, again, it's just so funny to me how these people are upset about a Republican propagandist, a MAGA propagandist, right, being hired by the network, but yet they're not upset about Biden administration propagandists, right? They want to complain about remaining the free press when you're not the free press at all.
A free and uncowed press is part of our system of government. We stand up for ourselves as a way of standing up for our country and for our Constitution, the First Amendment to which makes it possible for us to exist at all. And so I want to associate myself with all my colleagues, both at MSNBC and at NBC News, who have voiced loud and principled objections to our company putting on the payroll someone who hasn't just attacked us as journalists, but someone who is part of an ongoing project to get rid of our system of government.
Wow. Somebody that is a part of an ongoing project to get rid of our system of government, aka somebody that is connected to people that we politically disagree with, right? That's all she's saying. That's all she's saying, because Ronna McDaniel basically said, look, I have questions about the 2020 election. Apparently having questions about the 2020 election and challenging the 2020 election, which is something that you are allowed to do, right? You're allowed to challenge the general election. Okay, Democrats have done that ever since George Bush was elected. Yeah, I mean, again, apparently you're not allowed to hire anybody that's associated with trying to challenge an election, right? When, again, Democrats have been doing that for the longest time. This is clear and obvious viewpoint discrimination here from MSDNC.
Someone who still is trying to convince Americans that this election stuff, it doesn't really work, that this last election, it wasn't a real result, that American elections are fraudulent.
You know, it's so funny because Ronna McDaniel definitely backtracked during that interview. She definitely said that, hey, Joe Biden was legitimately elected. Even though I think that there were some issues with 2020, he's legitimately the president of the United States. Even if she does the tap dance, right? She did the tap dance on January 6th, okay, when she said that, I believe that people that were violent should not be let out of prison or whatever, right? Don't matter, right? These people are going to go on air and pretend that she said the exact opposite. This is how they play the game. This is how they play the game. It's just so hilarious to me. I only can feel so bad for Ronna McDaniel because she should have expected this running to the mainstream liberal media. This is what she gets for running to the mainstream liberal media. Hilarious.
Because that argument, that is a necessary part, that is the most necessary part of the overall project of getting us as Americans to give up on this election stuff. Because wouldn't we rather have a real man in charge anyway? Somebody who could really get some stuff done. If only we could clear away all the things in his way. We have a long history in this country of forgettable men telling us that we need a new system of government where everything's under their control and politics is over and this new strongman way of government is gonna make America great again. We have had a lot of these guys. But our generation's version of this guy has gotten a lot farther than all the rest of them. And why is that? He would have been as forgotten as all the rest of them had he not been able to attach himself to an institution like the Republican Party, and had the leader of that party in his time not decided that she wouldn't just abide him, she would help. She would help with the worst of it.
Well, she was doing her job, right? Her job was to challenge the election, and she did her job. But again, this comes from a place of Trump derangement, right? This is the media trying to punish this person for doing her job, okay, as the chair of the RNC at the time, because they feel like she's too close with Trump, right? And they feel like, well, you're rewarding somebody that's too close with Trump, that's close with Trump. And they can't stand it. They don't like it, right? They don't like the fact that she's probably getting paid more than some of these people get paid. Not more than Rachel Maddow, but more than some of these people get paid, probably.
It's my understanding that MSNBC's leadership did not object to Ronna McDaniel being hired by NBC News when the matter first arose. But when the hiring was announced, and MSNBC staff essentially unanimously and instantly expressed outrage, our leadership at MSNBC heard us, understood, and adjusted course. We were told this weekend in clear terms, Ronna McDaniel will not be on our air. Ronna McDaniel will not be on MSNBC. And I say that and give you that level of detail because there has been an effort since by other parts of the company to muddy that up in the press and make it seem like that's not what happened at MSNBC. I can assure you that is what happened at MSNBC.
Yeah, so she's bragging about how they are using their power as employees to basically censor speech, right? Because that's what this is, right? This is censorship. She's straight up bragging about, oh, freedom of press, First Amendment, but yet you are advocating for censorship because you don't like somebody's viewpoint. Again, that's the irony here. These people, I don't think they actually listen to themselves talk, because they listen to themselves talk, they can see that what they're saying is nonsensical. Like, that, this is very contradictory. Like, you can't come out here and say that we're pro freedom of the press, but then say that, hey, well, we don't want to platform somebody that we hired to be a contributor to give a point of view, right, from, a certain, demographic in this country. We don't want to platform that person because we don't agree with their views. Again, this is amazing, right? The boohoo whining and crying is hilarious to me. It really is. I mean, Rachel Maddow is trying very hard to drum up tears, right? And to start crying over her network hiring somebody that she does not like politically. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Ronna McDaniel will not appear on MSNBC. So says our boss since Saturday, and it has never been anything other than clear. And I will also say, if you care what I think about this, I will tell you the fact that Ms. McDaniel is on the payroll at NBC News to me, that is inexplicable. I mean, you wouldn't hire a wise guy. You wouldn't hire a made man like a mobster to work at a DA's office, right? you wouldn't hire a pickpocket to work as a TSA screener. And
again, this whole network is full of Democrat Party propagandists, right? And that's the irony here. It's just so hilarious. These people, I'm not sure if they actually really hear themselves when they talk in the overt hypocrisy. Okay, they have nothing to say about all of the Biden propagandists working at their network, but they got so much vitriol and hate for one person that they disagree with that work for Trump coming on the network because, again, she didn't say the right words to denounce Trump enough. Again, amazing.
So I find the decision to put her on the payroll inexplicable. And I hope they will reverse their decision. And it's not about, Democratic Party, Republican Party. It's not about partisanship. It's not about right versus left. It's not about being a political professional versus some other kinds of person. It's not about being mean or nice to journalists. It's not about just being associated with Donald Trump and his time in the Republican Party. It's not even about lying or not lying. It's about our system of government and undermining elections and going after democracy as an ongoing project, right?
AKA, she might say something that we don't like, right? She might convince our audience that our propaganda or that our narrative is wrong, okay? She may say things that could sway some opinions, and therefore we don't want to platform her because they know that, again, people like Liz Cheney, like Adam Kinzinger, they're not going to say anything out of line, right? The only reason they get platformed on MSNBC and CNN is because they know that they're going to come out and say anti-Trump talking points. They don't platform these individuals unless they're talking about Trump, right? You notice that, right? You notice how they don't ask Adam Kinzinger or Liz Cheney or even Michael Steele, really, their opinions or anything having to do with Democrats, right? Or disagreeing with Democrats. They don't allow that, right? The only thing they allow these people to talk about, any Republican on this network, is Trump. And they got to be talking negative about Trump. See, Ronna McDaniel is not going to go and talk negatively about Trump enough. And that's what they're upset about. That's why they are objecting to her being on the network, even though she can do the tap dance. She's not going to be overtly anti-Trump. That's why they're upset, right? This is what they're upset about. But yet they claim that, hey, we believe in freedom of speech, the free press. No, the free press, that doesn't exist, right? Not in America. The free press ain't free. Evidenced by, again, the outrage here that probably is going to result in Ronna McDaniel being fired because what they're going to do is that they're going to make it so hostile. They're going to make it so awkward for her that MSNBC or NBC is going to have to get rid of her, right? They're probably going to have to pay her out because of the hostility at the network in regards to working with her. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.